Is this what you sound like when you're running? If so, I'll show you how you can transform those heavy feet when you're running into lighter, more effortless strides. And stick around until the end because I will reveal the one thing that most runners aren't doing, which completely changes the way that you run. Hi, it's Ryan from Unstoppable, where we help you run smarter, faster, and injury-free no matter where you're starting. First up, let's tackle fatigue head on. You need to start by finding your limit. Think to yourself, when am I starting to feel that heavy-footed sensation? Is it after your first K? Is it after 3K? Or is it after 5K? If so, that's your cue to adjust. Instead of pushing through, try cutting back on your running a bit. You need to start with a distance that you're comfortable with and then gradually increase your distance week by week. This increase should be around 5 to 10% each week. For example, if you start running at, let's say, 2.5 kilometers, next week aim for 2.75 kilometers, then the week after that, try 3 kilometers. This gradual increase, it helps your body to adjust without overdoing it. And consistency is key here. However much running you're planning to do, try and stick to that amount each week. Over time, you'll build your fitness and your endurance, and you'll be better equipped for those longer distances, and those heavy feet will go away. I know this to be the case because when I first started running, I was training 6 days a week. I was doing 3 runs, 4 boxing sessions, and 3 gym workouts. And on paper, that seemed like a good plan because when I was a sprinter, I was already training 6 days a week, doing 3 gym and 3 track sessions. But while I didn't really notice it at first, that tiredness did start to creep up on me. And I got to the point where I felt like I was basically dragging myself around every single run. My legs felt heavy, my feet were heavy, and to be honest, I was a walking target when it came to sparring at boxing because I could barely move because I was so tired, and that is not a good position to be in when you're doing rounds with people that are trying to punch you. My Whoop recovery scores were low. I was rarely getting green scores. My strain score was really high all of the time, and my heart rate variability score kept on getting lower and lower. And your heart rate variability is a good measure of your health and your fitness. And to top it all off, my left Achilles was starting to swell too. So I knew that something had to change, otherwise the injury was going to become more serious. I'd burn out and I'd have to stop training altogether, which I never want to do. And one of the reasons that I'm sharing this with you guys is because I went from doing 6 training sessions a week to 10 training sessions a week with no gradual increase, and I paid the price. So you avoid the same mistake that I made, you must gradually increase the training that you're doing. And what I did out the back of all of this was I decided to cut back my training to 5 days a week. This meant reshuffling my schedule and doing more double sessions, but what it has meant is rather than getting 1 rest day a week, I now get 2. Now I train on Monday, Tuesday, I take Wednesday off, then I'm back at it again for Thursday, Friday and Saturday with Sunday as a rest day too. And that difference has been absolutely amazing. My legs don't feel heavy or empty anymore. The slapping noises halfway through my runs have disappeared. My Achilles isn't swelling, and I'm not a walking target in the boxing ring. I feel more refreshed and ready to tackle each workout, and I also feel way more productive in my working day too. The second lesson in this, guys, is if you are getting heavy feet when you're running, it's time to seriously consider having another day off from training as well. Now, your body takes anywhere from 24 to 72 hours to fully recover. Have a think about that. That could mean if you train on a Monday, your body isn't ready to train properly again until late Wednesday or even early Thursday. And yes, this does depend on how hard you're training, your age and how fit you are, but if you are feeling this way right now, this is something to adjust when it comes to your run training. You may need an extra rest day or longer between each session. Give it a go for a month, see how your body responds, and then let us know in the comments below how you get on. If you are getting heavy feet when you're running, we need to look at your running form. Poor form not only causes that annoying slapping noise, but it also increases your risk of injury. Here's what you can do when you're running to improve your form. Firstly, start with your posture. Keep your head up and your gaze forward. Don't look down at your feet when you're running. This will take some time, especially if you're trail running, because you do have to look at where you're landing so that you don't roll your ankle. But this is something that you can do, that you can easily remind yourself to do when you're running. Something else that you can do to combat this heavy feet is hill reps. Running uphill forces you to engage your body in a way that helps you to correct your form naturally. When you are running up a hill, you are going to be forced to land on your midfoot instead of your heel. And this is important because a midfoot strike is more efficient, it reduces your risk of injury and reduces the chance of that heavy slapping sound when you're running. Not only does it help you to feel what that midfoot strike should feel like, but it also makes you bring your feet back under your body much quicker. This helps to increase your cadence, which can reduce that sluggish, heavy-footed feeling when you're running as well. Plus, hill reps are a fantastic strength workout. They really target the muscles in the back of your legs, so your calves, hamstrings and glutes, which are so important for proper running form, and ultimately becoming a faster runner. Strengthening these muscles will give you more power on flat surfaces, which help you to maintain better form, even when that tiredness kicks in. So adding in hill sessions 1 to 2 times a week will not only help you to avoid that heavy feet feeling, but it also makes you a stronger, more efficient runner. Now, we've actually done a full video on how you can move from a heel striker to a midfoot striker, so make sure you watch the video that's appearing here now. Okay, so that's what you can do to improve your running form when you are running. Here are some ways that you can improve it away from running. Can you remember what I said earlier when there was one thing that most runners don't do can completely change the way that you run? This is that one thing. One of our running clients, before we were working together, used to struggle being heavy-footed, especially during her longer runs. As she became tired, when she was running, she would collapse inward like this. Her shoulders would hunch and she'd lean forward more. This was causing her to slap the ground with her feet, making each step feel heavier, louder, and also harder than it needed to be. And the reason this was happening was because her core muscles weren't strong enough to cope with the forces that she was experiencing when she was running, which was then affecting how she would run. If this area of your body can't cope with these forces when you're running, other areas of your body will overcompensate, which will increase your risk of injury, especially in your lower back, and it will change how you run. So what we did is we made sure that her training program included more exercises that would strengthen her core. By doing this, we have significantly reduced her forward lean, the slapping impact on the ground has disappeared, her running posture is better, her stride is lighter and more efficient, and she's faster. Let's get into the core exercises that you can do here. So the first core exercise that we can do to strengthen the core is the curl up. Great for activating the core muscles and also taking some of that pressure off your lower back, which can be so commonly injured in a lot of runners. So to do this exercise, what you want to be doing is you would have one leg completely straight and you have one leg bent like this. You have your hands under your back to support that, and all you're doing is literally just bringing your neck off the floor just an inch like this, and you would hold that for 10 seconds, and that would be 1 repetition. Then you would relax and you'd come back up just an inch off the floor, hold it for 10 seconds, and you would just repeat that for the desired number of repetitions. The second core exercise that we're going to do is what we would call a bird dog. Again, brilliant exercise for activating the core muscles and also taking some of the pressure off that lower back as well. So to do this exercise, you want to be starting in all fours like this. And one thing that we sometimes see when you're doing this exercise is people will tend to do that with their neck. If you do that, you're going to put a lot of pressure on your neck and you're running the risk of injury. So always just keep yourself looking down at the floor throughout this movement. So this is your starting position. Then what it is it's opposite arm, opposite leg that will raise at the same time. So this is the position that you're looking for. What you will sometimes see is people will do this with the bird dog, and they will overextend their spine, which basically just puts loads more pressure on your spine. It takes the tension off your core as well. So the thing to think about here, if you are doing it that way, is bringing that leg out straight and kicking the heel back. And when you're doing this exercise, the leg doesn't need to go up as high as you think it needs to. So definitely get a video out and look at how you're doing this exercise. But if you just focus on kicking the heel back and keeping a really nice straight line, you will keep the tension on the core and also on the glute muscles as well, which are starting to get activated during this exercise. And again, with this exercise, I would hold it for 10 seconds per repetition and then do the same on the other side. And that would be 1 repetition, and you repeat that for the number of times that you want to do this. So the third and final exercise that we're going to do to strengthen and activate those core muscles better is the side plank. So to do the side plank, you can actually start with your knees in this position, and it's definitely worth starting like this if you are new to the side plank and then progressing to the one that I'll show you in a second. So with the knees like this, and you want to start on your elbow like this, when you are doing the side plank, you want to be looking straight ahead. From here, all it's a case of doing is just bringing your hips up so that you're in a nice straight line. And again, get your video out and just see if you are in a straight line. So from here, push the hips out up like that, holding again for 10 seconds, then relaxing, repeating for the number of repetitions that you want to do. And then if you are a little bit more advanced or you're used to doing a side plank, rather than having the feet like this, you can actually go for your feet like this, and it's exactly the same process again. So just from here, you're lifting the hips up, you're thinking about maintaining a straight line throughout, hold for 10 seconds, repeat for the number of repetitions that you plan to do, like this. And remember, you're always trying to look straight ahead, because if you're looking anywhere else, you're going to be putting an excessive amount of pressure on your neck, which can increase the risk of injury and strain as well. So that's a few exercises that you can do here. You should also be aiming to land on the middle of your foot when you're running. This helps absorb shock and keeps your feet landing beneath your hips, not in front of you. To move towards more of a midfoot strike, firstly, improving your run posture will help. We've actually done a full video that's appearing here now that goes through all of this and more, so make sure that you go and watch that as well. Also, try adjusting your stride. Try taking shorter, quicker steps. Does this reduce the heavy feet feeling when you're running? Does it feel less strenuous and quieter? If so, you've just found a way to move towards a lighter footstep. Try aiming for a cadence of around 170 to 180 steps per minute. You can use a metronome app that helps you to keep the right rhythm for this. And let's not forget about your arm. Keep your elbows bent at 90 degrees and swing them forward and backwards, bringing them slightly across your body like this. This helps with balance and also rhythm. Practicing these elements will not only make your runs quieter and more efficient, but also a lot more enjoyable. Next, let's talk about strengthening those legs. Building up your leg and your foot muscles is crucial because they are your foundation in running. When your legs are stronger, they don't get tired as quickly, which means your feet won't feel as heavy during your runs. Here's how you can strengthen them. To do this exercise, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to stand shoulder width apart with your feet. Then you're going to look straight ahead like Nick's doing now. And what you want to do is imagine that the chest is coming up slightly just before you go into the squat. Before you go down into it, if you take a deep breath in and hold that will brace the core, it will activate the core muscles, and that will make you stronger throughout that whole movement. Then you would start your descent imagining that you are about to sit back onto a chair. So if you go down into that squat position for us, Nick, as you'll see now, Nick's into the deepest squat position where his thighs are parallel to the floor. That's as far as you want to go down. Then from here, Nick will breathe out, pushing all the way back to the start position, and that would be 1 repetition. The second exercise that we're going to do, it's a bodyweight lunge. It will strengthen your whole lower body like the bodyweight squat, but this time it's actually going to work some of the hamstrings as well. So when you're doing this exercise, the first thing when you're setting yourself up is you want to be looking straight ahead throughout this whole movement, like we did with the bodyweight squat. Then when you're stepping into this movement, rather than just taking that step forward, which is what most people do, if you take a step forward and slightly out, you will have a more stable foundation to do that exercise from. When you're in this position, while you're looking straight ahead, you would take a deep breath in. Similar to the bodyweight squat, you're bracing the core, you're activating those muscles, you're stronger throughout the whole of that movement. Then what I'd like you to focus on is just dropping that back knee down to the floor, because if you do that, you will naturally form those 90-degree angles that we're looking for when we're doing a lunge. So deep breath in, drop the knee down, then you're at the bottom of the movement, and then at this point when you're pushing back up, that was when you would release the breath and go, and that would be 1 repetition. And you will repeat that for the amount of reps that you're doing. The final exercise that you can do is toe raises. To do a toe raise, stand flat and lift your toes while keeping your heels on the ground like this. For this exercise, try 2 sets of 15 repetitions. And as you get stronger, try add in a few more reps or some light weights to this exercise. You'll be amazed at how much of a difference this makes in how your feet feel while you're running. If you are doing this consistently, you can expect to feel a difference in your running at around 4 to 6 weeks. Now let's master your pacing. Starting too fast can drain your energy very quickly when you're running. So what's the secret? Begin your runs at a pace that feels comfortable. How many times have you seen somebody at your local park run, try and keep up with the person that's in front of them, then they're out of breath, running on empty, and dragging themselves around the rest of it? You need to run your own race. Start with a pace where you are able to hold a conversation. If you are gasping for air, slow down. Using a fitness watch can really help here too. Something like a Garmin is great because you can actually set up pace targets on Garmin. This way, you can maintain a consistent pace throughout your whole run. You can check the speed that you're running at, and it'll vibrate and make sounds when you're running too slow or too fast. And this approach to your run training will stop you getting tired too early on into your run. So this is how you can pace yourself when you're running. But as you get better and fitter, you are going to be running faster. And as you run faster, you are more likely to get tired quicker, which can change your run form, make your legs feel heavy, your feet feel heavy, and before you know it, your feet are making that annoying slapping sound again. So what can you do here? Interval training. This is a great type of run for building endurance and also strength. It gets you used to running at faster paces and also maintaining them, and it helps your body to get used to these higher intensities so that you're stronger for longer too. To do an interval run, firstly, it is so important that you warm up. Do 5 minutes of jogging, 2 to 3 minutes of bodyweight exercises, then some dynamic stretches, and end with a couple of running strides. And if you want us to walk through the exact warm-up that you should be doing step by step before running, click the first link in the description, you can go and get that one. Then you're ready to go into your interval session. Try running at a moderate to fast pace for 3 minutes, followed by a jog or a walk for a minute, and repeating this 4 to 6 times. Now that is just one example. You could try running for more or less time, but that's a great place to start for most people. Now, this will be a tough run at first, but with time and consistently doing these types of sessions, it does get a little easier. And we've actually done a video that shows you 6 ways to run faster without getting tired, which is appearing here now. So make sure you go and watch that video too. If you are getting heavy feet when you're running, have you thought about taking a quick break during your run? If you are new to running and you do get tired halfway through your run, try using the run walk method. It's a little bit like interval training, to be honest. The only difference here though is that you're not usually running as fast, and it's a walk rather than a recovery jog like you sometimes see in the interval runs. So here, try running for 10 minutes, then walking briskly for 2 minutes and repeating this for the time that you plan to run for. Then from here, week by week, try reducing the time that you're walking for as you get fitter. Simple but effective, and a great way to bridge the gap to running non-stop. And if you feel like you need a break earlier than 10 minutes into your running, that's fine. Find where you are right now and then you can adjust that accordingly. Now, if your feet feel heavy when you're running, it's more than likely that your legs feel this way too. So click the video that's appearing here now to fix your heavy legs when you're running.